What's up, everyone? It's Dr. Will Cole. I'm a leading functional medicine doctor. I started one of the world's first functional medicine telehealth centers over 13 years ago at this point, and I'm a New York Times bestselling author. I wrote Intuitive Fasting, The Inflammation Spectrum, Ketotarian. My latest book is called Gut Feelings. I also host the podcast, The Art of Being Well. If you want to learn more about my clinical work, the telehealth center, becoming a telehealth patient, the book, the podcast, there's lots of free resources there for you as well. You can check it all out at drwillcole.com. That's drwillcole.com. In today's video, I want to talk all about methylation. It's a question that I get asked a lot. I talk about it certainly with patients. We run labs about it for patients and talk about it on the podcast and in the books. But in today's video, I really want to share with you all here because we get asked almost on a daily basis something about methylation. Why? Because a lot of my work is focused on people that are dealing with different immune issues, different energy, low energy issues, mitochondrial issues, different autoimmune problems. A central component to many of those cases are different methylation impairments or sluggish or suboptimal methylation. So first, let's define it. What the heck is methylation? Methylation is this big, fancy, sophisticated, interconnected superhighway, if you will, of pathways that are responsible for detoxification pathways in the body, clearing out toxins. It's responsible for the regulation of the immune system and inflammation, which is a product of the immune system. It's responsible for healthy neurotransmitter health and mental health, brain health. It's responsible for gut health. It's responsible for hormone health. Basically, if methylation is not working well, you're not feeling well. And again, to repeat myself, that's the center of my work, is really to optimize these pathways that are not where we want it to be. They are less than functional. So in functional medicine, I want to get you to where does vibrant wellness reside? Where does your body function the best? And supporting methylation is one component to the complex facets that make us feel the way that we feel. So one way that we gauge methylation is a biomarker. It's a blood test that we run for patients all over the world. It's called homocysteine. Homocysteine is an inflammatory marker. We all make homocysteine. There's nothing wrong with homocysteine. There's nothing wrong with inflammation as a whole, by the way. It's a product of the immune system. But the problem is when there's chronic inflammation. That's sort of that forest fire that burns in perpetuity. That's the problem. It's the breaking of that Goldilocks principle. Not too high, not too low, but just right. It's the breaking of homeostasis or balance in the body. We want inflammation to fight off viruses and bacteria and pathogens. That's a normal, healthy inflammatory response. Chronic inflammation is inflammation too high for too long. That is not good, and it's something that we need to address. So homocysteine is a simple blood test that anybody's PCP or GP can run, and we run it again for patients all over the place. But the optimal range for homocysteine is under 7. Many people have high homocysteine levels, high inflammation levels in the form of homocysteine, and they don't even know it. And it's a piece of the puzzle of why they're not feeling the way that they should be. They're struggling with chronic fatigue syndrome or anxiety or depression, or they're dealing with different musculoskeletal inflammatory issues or autoimmune problems. They want, definitely, anybody that's struggling with that, definitely, I would recommend getting your homocysteine levels tested. And you want to make sure it's in the optimal range of under 7. There are different genetic and epigenetic or environmental factors as to why homocysteine can be elevated. And with patients, with our telehealth patients, we're looking at both the genetic and the epigenetic factors. So genetically, there are different methylation gene variants, or the acronym is SNPs, SNPs, or single nucleotide polymorphisms. We all have different bio-individual, unique variants when it comes to methylation. Some people have more slower gene variants than others, me included. So you can either have a normal gene variant, a heterozygous gene variant, meaning a single copy, or a double gene variant, or a homozygous gene variant. The more hetero and homozygous gene variants you have when it comes to methylation, and separately with detoxification gene variants, that can slow down your body's ability to methylate optimally, and especially when you're going through stressful times in your life or exposed to environmental toxins or eating a nutrient maybe a nutrient deficient diet, if you will, if you're not taking so great care of your body, that can build up a lot of extra inflammation levels in the body. Homocysteine is just one pathway on this methylation super freeway system. So I do not want to be overly reductive when we're talking about the complexity of methylation, but if you're talking about an accessible, conventional biomarker to measure how one aspect of methylation is functioning, homocysteine is a good way to consider it. But different gene variants like the MTHFR gene variant, the MTRR, the COMT, the VDR gene variant, these are different gene variants that we test for patients to look at the different, maybe sluggish areas where we can, on a bio-individual, personalized level, support your own methylation. And on an epigenetic level, meaning environmental standpoint, some areas that can really impact methylation negatively, kind of alluded to it a moment ago, but looking at chronic stress and trauma, unresolved trauma, a stressful life event that you're going through, looking at underlying gut problems, nutrient deficiencies. These are other factors beyond genetics that can also be a component as to why these forms of inflammation levels may be higher and methylation can be negatively impacted. We have to deal with both. We have to support the genetic variants because those are never going to change, and we have to support these underlying depleters of methyl donors, these things like environmental toxins and mold toxins and chronic Lyme disease and underlying gut problems, nutrient deficiencies that also can play a part into these higher inflammation levels. So one simple, basically everybody can benefit from it way to support methylation levels. If you don't run labs, if you just want to, hey, I want to just err on the side of how can I optimize my methylation and in turn support a healthy immune system, support healthy inflammatory levels, support healthy nervous system. Your nervous system needs healthy methylation. All of the things that methylation, the far-reaching implications of methylation, you can support it very simply with one blend of things, different methylated B vitamins. So things like methylfolate, which is a type of B vitamin, methylcobalamin, or methylated B12, these are needed. And one way to do that, and many of my patients love this, is the B complex from my friends at Live On Labs. I've recommended it for years for my telehealth patients. So it's one tool of many that you can do to really lean into it from a lifestyle standpoint to support healthy methylation levels. Again, supporting your nervous system, supporting your immune system, supporting energy production, supporting skin health. I can go on and on. B vitamins are very, very important, but you want to make sure they're in the methylated form, the bioavailable form, and the B complex from Live On Labs is one great way to do that. What I also love about this formula from Live On Labs is that they blend and mix the methylated B complex with other immune supporting micronutrients like selenium and zinc, which are also great evidence-based tools to support a healthy immune system. And on labs, I have to say, seeing zinc deficiencies and selenium deficiencies is ubiquitous. It's common. So great tool to consider. And for more information on how to support methylation, how to deal with these different autoimmune inflammation issues, check out drwillcole.com. That's drwillcole.com, because I've written loads of articles over the years with all the peer-reviewed literature for you to really geek out on the science about methylation and your optimal health.